In the meantime, right now here in New York City, it is 7:11 in the morning. We already know exactly what Hillary Clinton thinks about Benghazi.
The fact is, we had 4 dead Americans. Was it because of a protest, or was it because of guys out for a walk one night who decided they'd go kill some Americans? What difference at this point does it make?
Well, the senator she was yelling at right there says he now knows why she responded that way. Ron Johnson is in the studio. He's coming up. He's going to talk to Elizabeth Hasselbeck. Introduce you.
Correct. Pleasure to have you here.
The fact is, we had 4 dead Americans. Was it because of a protest, or was it because of guys out for a walk one night who decided they'd go kill some Americans? What difference at this point does it make?
Well, our next guest asked Hillary Clinton that question over a year ago and still thinks we haven't gotten to the bottom of her involvement in the Benghazi scandal. Republican Senator Ron Johnson joins us right now. Good morning, Senator. Thank you for being with us.
Good morning, Elizabeth.
Did you know when he asked that question that it would be haunting Hillary Clinton this long?
I had a sense, I was saying earlier, you would not have believed the explosion of camera clicks when she reacted so testily to a pretty simple question that I asked was, why didn't you just pick up the phone, call the survivors, and you would have known immediately that there was no protest, that this really was an attack, didn't know whether it was pre-planned, but we didn't have to mislead the American public, or they didn't have to mislead the American public for weeks after the attack.
Well, the information hasn't been set forward to the American people. Trey Gowdy now heading the select committee. Will we get those answers? Will we get the documents needed to get to the truth?
I certainly hope so, and I certainly hope this administration grants waivers to all the survivors so they can testify without fear of retribution. And, there are so many questions in terms of before, what happened before the attack, what happened during the attack, and, of course, what happened after. I mean, before, the dereliction of duty of this administration, of the State Department, the Secretary of State, in not only denying requests for additional security, but actually ramping down security. A small contingent of armed security guards, I think, would have prevented that attack, and you'd have 4 Americans still alive today.
Is that what we'll hear if they actually do get some sort of testimony and interview from Hillary Clinton?
Well, we pretty well know that just from cables. But, the whole point of during the attack, what was the president doing? What was Secretary Clinton doing? Why didn't we? It was 12 hours before those survivors were airlifted out of Benghazi. Nobody knew that it was going to end in 12 hours. Why didn't we send any available asset just as cover? There were people that could have gotten there certainly within 12 hours. This administration didn't send anybody. Why? Who made that decision not to respond, not to provide help?
You mentioned the officials that were there. They, as expressed earlier, Steve mentioned earlier in the program, that they have been afraid to come forward. Will they be able to do that?
I certainly hope so. And again, I think it's really up to the administration to honor its promise of being the most transparent in history. It's been almost 2 years now. The American people need the truth. The survivors, the families of those dead Americans need to know the truth. And Elizabeth, one question I want to ask, I really want every American to put yourself in the position of Secretary of State Clinton when she was on the tarmac at Andrews Air Force Base, really representing America, to offer sincere condolences. I mean, would have you, as an American, offered those sincere condolences, or would have you cravenly seized on that opportunity to perpetuate, to plant the cover-up, really to cover up your dereliction of duty? That's what Secretary Clinton did, and I want Americans who may consider voting for her for president to really consider how she acted at that moment, which should have been a very solemn, very sincere moment of condolences.
Right. There's been dismissiveness in a tone of hashtag Throwback Thursday. As we saw with Brett Baer's interview with Tommy Vitor, we see what difference does it make. This is a waste of time. Why this attitude when it comes to lives so viciously taken of our own? Again,
my standpoint, I think, is a pretty simple answer, is I believe they're trying to cover up their dereliction of duty before. I think they're feeling probably pretty guilty that they denied that added security that would have saved or certainly prevented the deaths of those 4 Americans.
Senator Ron Johnson, thanks for being with us. Great state of Wisconsin there.
Have a great morning.
Be well.